Hi everybody, it's Dan again. Just a little follow-up tutorial on the GUI Picker that I recently introduced. Um, a few questions that have come up, and I just wanted to clarify. The first is these select and key buttons that I've created up in the upper left-hand and right-hand corner. What this is all about is a way to select multiple controllers with one click. Similar to the select everything that gets absolutely everything, these only get the controls that you may be working with. So for example, if you are working in such a way that you're using IK for both arms and the torso and head are in FK, this button here will select everything. We'll select basically all the controllers that you're using to animate with, assuming you're not switching back and forth between those modes. So this will do all of the IK wrists and pull vectors, and FK head and FK torso, and all of the tail and all of the hair and all of the fingers and everything. And I find that to be useful when I'm in blocking mode, when I set a pose and I can just go over here and click this, and that will set a key on all the controllers that I'm using, but not set a key on the ones I'm not using. So for example, if I'm using IK arms, I don't want to set a key on the FK controls. So now of course I can always go later and delete static channels, but this is just a way to make sure that everything I intend to animate will have a key on my blocking keyframes that I've set. So as I go set a pose later on, perhaps 8 frames later, and I move an arm or something like that, I haven't created an in-between on the previous keyframe simply because I didn't set a key on it. So you can also do, select everything and key that, but then again, then you'll be keying controllers that you're not even using. So that's what those are all about, and I find them useful in my workflow. You may or may not, and in which case you might choose to ignore them. The other thing I want to clarify is the use of the Shift and the Control key. The Shift and Control work exactly the same way they do in the viewport. So if you select something and then select something else, it just changes the selection. But if you hold down the Shift key, it will show multiple selections. And you can see this. I've got the dope sheet up here in the background, so you can sort of see what's going on. So that's Shift and I can make multiple selections, and Control key can be used to toggle a selection. So that works the same way it does in the viewport. So hopefully so you'll find that useful as well. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the ability to customize this. Michael suggested he would like to have a control that would allow him to just set the fingers. So one way you could do that is just do select all, and then click the thumb, and that will deselect the thumb, and then this allows you to pose the fingers. So if this is something, now that's just a few extra clicks, but if this is something you want to be doing a lot of, you can actually customize this GUI picker for your own liking. So what we might do here with these 3 controls selected, I could go down here and middle mouse button select one of these colored buttons here and come up and drop it on the picker. So now if I were to select nothing or something else, now I come back and just regular click on that, that will have selected those 3 controls, which allows me to animate them. And if I want to mess with this a little more, I can either just middle mouse buttons select and drag that to move it somewhere else. If I control select and drag, I can make it bigger. If I come down here and click more, I can actually put a label on it. I'll go over here to label and either use one of these predefined labels, or I can create my own custom label by typing something in there and then middle mouse dragging that label onto that. And now I've created my own customization to this that will allow me to select those 3 fingers and use them for just animating that. This is a useful thing. You might want to do it for other things, like perhaps you want all of the spine controls to be selected together when you're working in the graph editor and you want to create some overlap of a twisting motion or something like that. Similarly, you might want it for some of the tail or hair pieces. I've already got one created for the tail for that type of use. So that's something you might find useful. A couple things about this: if you don't want this, you can just take that and middle mouse drag it down to the trash can if you want to throw it away. Here, I left it there. I didn't release that. But if you want to save this and you want to save it back to your scene, you need to make sure that you click on the Save button, which is the little disk icon up here. And doing that will have this modification saved back to your scene file. Again, that gets saved to your scene file, not back to the original asset file that everyone is using for this. So this customization will be local to your scene. That's it. Thanks. Hope it helps.